Hey guys, how you doing today? This is Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and we're doing a few videos today, and I think this is the last one I'll upload real quick, but I actually do have to do this real quick before these two guys figure out there's no lid on their enclosures and try to escape. But I'm really quickly going to be talking about tubs versus tanks on ball pythons and other snakes that act like them specifically and have around the same requirements. We're not comparing a ball python to a green tree python just because the name's pythons in them. We're talking about ball pythons, corn snakes, king snakes, things like that. Tanks versus tubs, and my thoughts. So, I could basically end this video right now with just saying that tanks take a little bit more work than tubs, but I'll go a little bit deeper into that. So, three main things we're looking at. Food response. Snakes that are in tubs, depending on the snake, as a general rule of thumb, I've had snakes that are the exact opposite. I have some snakes, like my Mojave ball python, that literally feed better and have a better feed response in a tank than a tub. But generally speaking, snakes that are in tubs, ball pythons, corn snakes, well, not as much corn snakes, ball pythons in particular, are going to have heavier feeding responses because they feel more enclosed. If you look through this glass, you can see everything through the glass, right? And sorry, it's a little bit dirty, but this is actually a used tank, so it's not something that just got cleaned or anything. Looking through this, you can kind of see, but especially when it's pulled back in a rack system, they feel a lot less on display. Okay, that's number one, feeding response. Number two, humidity. In a tank, it's a little bit harder to control humidity. In this tub, you have a lot further space from the ground, so the humidity doesn't have as much place to go in the air. And with a tank, you can't really drill holes in anything. You can drill it in the air, but because you have such a length from the ground coming up, it is a little bit harder to control humidity in tanks. Tubs seem to hold it better. I don't know if glass leaks humidity better, I don't know if glass lets more humidity out and plastic keeps it in, but from what I've seen, plastic tubs always seem to keep more humidity than tanks. And then the final thing, the biggest thing when we're comparing these two, is, we already have humidity, feeding, and just space is the last one they take up. With a tub, you don't need any room above it to have a light. You literally stand here, pull the tub out of its rack system, put it back. There's normally heat cable or heat tape or heat mat sitting underneath of this, plugged into a thermostat, and that's what will keep the tub warm. With a tank, where's my lid? I've got a few laying around in here. Let's take your lid. First of all, most tanks don't come short. I know there's some 10 gallons that do, but finding 20 gallons that are really long and don't have the height there, it's going to be a challenge. That's number one. So you already have that extra space taken up, about twice as much as this. And you might say, okay, well, tanks versus tubs, if you don't have that many snakes, it's only twice as much, right? This is only 2 times as tall as this, maybe a little bit more. Not really, because look, number two, this is heated on the bottom. With this, you're going to take a heat lamp and set it right here, and your heat lamp's going to stand up to about right here. And then you have to have room to take that heat lamp off and then take the lid off. So really you're looking at 3 to 4 times the size of this. And also a big aspect of it is cleaning. Which one's easier to clean? Tank or tub? What do you think? Well, it's kind of normally tubs are easier to clean. Some tubs are a little iffy, but normally because tanks weigh so much more, he figured out he could get out, so I put a lid on. But because tanks tend to weigh so much more, if you're going to want to wash them out with soap or bleach or anything, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And tubs, they're lighter. Okay, now some tubs have these little rings in the bottom, like this one does, a Sterilite, which I don't like, that goes around the whole edge. But, it's just a little bit of an aspect. You can get rid of that with iris tubs or something. But, so overall, I'll tell you guys right now, there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with keeping your snake in either of these as long as they're doing fine. I have some snakes that do not care if they're on display, like this. This snake, actually this is a bad example, but this snake's iffy. Sometimes he likes being on display, sometimes he wants to be in a rack system or in a tub. This snake right here never wants to be in a... This snake right here, sorry about that, mate. I didn't mean to grab your head like that, but this snake right here never likes to be in a tank. He always likes to either have his tank have paper taped on the outside so he feels enclosed and safe, and he never comes out of his hide. Ever. And I actually have problems with him because he'll go to the bathroom and sit in it for weeks if nobody takes him out or cleans his cage. So he's kind of a problem. But some snakes are like this. Wants to hide all day. Wants to just do nothing. Wants to feel safe and enclosed. That's fine. So a tub will be a better option for that animal. But some snakes don't really care about being on display. More like this guy, and especially my Mojave. My Mojave has a hide in there always. She literally sits on top of it all day. It's not because she's too cold. I've taken the hide out. She doesn't really care. She always sits in one spot and, just doesn't really care about being on display. You could probably take her out, play with her for 3 hours. I actually did. Here's a quick, little story. First got the Mojave ball python. I had to go get live. Took her to the pet store to size, the rat up. I was thinking, well, there's no way she's going to eat it right here. It took me about 3 hours to get to the pet store. Drove there. I had just got her from another guy. Brought it to the pet store a few hours away. Took a mouse. Threw it in there. Bam. She'd been stressed out for 3 hours. New smells, knew everything, and she still took it. This is a snake that, not literally, but mentally has some balls. It is a female, but mentally, yeah, she's definitely got some balls. She does not care about being on display. She's never refused a meal from me, ever, and I've been keeping her for almost 2.5 years. She's never refused a meal, doesn't really care, so she would be fine in a tank. She also has barely any humidity needs. I can literally leave her on dry cypress forever, and she never gets dried out scales, never had scale problems. If you spray her tank down, her scales get a little bit pink and she doesn't like it. So each snake is different. So, main thing for you guys, I listed a few things from tubs to tanks. You really just gotta watch your snake. Some people say that, tanks don't work, and as a general rule, tubs are probably safer and make the snakes feel better than tanks. But look at this right now. This is a perfect display of ball python intelligence and personality. This snake right here, they both started out underneath their hides. I put them under their hides. This snake's already out. He knows there's new spells. He's exploring, and he doesn't really care too much. He might be better in a tank. But this snake right here, he came out a little bit. I touched his neck a little bit, and he's been hiding ever since. This snake would probably be much better in a tub, and he is much better in a tub because he feels safer. So, key here, guys, is just read your animals. If your animal's sitting out, if you have him in a tank right now and he's sitting out all day, doesn't really seem to care and doesn't have any feeding problems, leave him in a tank. But if you've got a snake that's got some problems eating, isn't a great feeder, is always hiding, and when you get him out, he's really skittish, number one, you need to work with that animal when it's a baby, because I'm going to tell you, when they're babies, they're way easier to work with and tame down than, when they're adults. That's number one. So you need to work with them, but number two, try putting them in a tub. It'll make them feel a lot better, especially if the tub isn't see-through. I mean, this one's pretty see-through, but some of them are completely dark. So, key is to read your animals, find what works the best for you. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just a few quick things. I know lots of people will go off on saying, it's bad to keep your animals in a tub, or it's bad to keep your animals in a tank. Less people go off about the tank, but look at this right here, to be honest. With the tank, you can see through it. With the tub, it's dimmed out a little bit, but you can still see through it. While, if I had to choose which one fits the most snakes, one shoe or one sock doesn't really fit all in the reptile caging world. But if I had to say which one fits more snakes, I would say there's more shy ball pythons. From my experience, there's much more ball pythons that are shy or want to feel safe and enclosed than ball pythons like my male Zucchini or my female Mojave. So tubs work out in the long run better for most ball pythons. This is not all, though, remember. And, snakes can get used to different things. So just read your ball pythons, guys. Read their characteristics. If they're telling you they want to be in a tub, put them in a tub. If they're already in a tank and they're fine, they're not showing any problems, keep them in a tank. As long as the health in the animal, as long as the health is good and the animal's happy, you should have no problems at all. So I hope this summed up the main, tub versus tank issue. I saw a lot of people addressing it in the last few months, and I thought I'd just put a few of my thoughts out there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.